Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Starsector. If you are wondering how to build and pilot a Lasher class frigate, this video is for you. The Lasher is a little low-tech guy with a front-locked shield and accelerated ammo feeder. He sports 5 small ballistic mounts and 2 small missile mounts, and all of those mounts can face forward. Let's have a look at that real quick. To easily see all of your weapon arcs at once, put them all in one group, go into Sim. Behold, all of our guns can face forward. So that tells us what we need to do. Get into the fight, put our front toward the enemy, activate ammo feeder, and fire all the things down lane. But it may be a little more complicated than that in practice. So first, I'm going to talk about what I call the regular Lasher fit that I occasionally use. I don't normally pilot a Lasher, honestly, but I'll use them in the fleet. And as NPC ships, they're perfectly fine, but for personal ships, I normally don't fly a frigate for very long because it's not my specialty. But this build should serve as a basic starting point to customize from. So we have a light dual autocannon in one of the front hardpoints for shield pressure, and in the other hardpoint, a light mortar for anti-armor. The 3 turret slots on the top of the ship are all Vulcan cannons for point defense. You could switch these over to more offensive guns, however you will run into flux dissipation problems if you do so be careful with that. Missile mounts are kind of whatever you want to do. I've put Reapers in them because on paper that is the best spike damage you're going to get. If you don't want to gamble it all on one shot, you might swap to hammers. If you don't like manual aiming, I highly recommend the Atroposes, especially in the hands of the AI. Missiles with tracking seem to perform more consistently, in my opinion. I would normally give it Atroposes if I were going to have the AI pilot this. For hull mods, we have Missile Autoloader to make sure that we get more Reapers, and we have Integrated Targeting Unit to increase the range at which we can engage. For vents, I've got 15 and then 5 capacitors. I'm able to have 15 vents because I have this skill, Flux Regulation, which increases the maximum number of vents and caps per ship. If you don't have the Flux Regulation skill, that's okay. You can instead just do a 10-10 split, or you could take those 5 points out of capacitors and spend them on another hull mod. Maybe blast doors if you're worried about crew costs, auxiliary thrusters if you want to move around faster, hardened subsystems if you need more uptime. The choice is yours. So, how does this little guy perform in combat? How do we fly it? So, first things first, let's get our weapon groups arranged. Point defense in one group, hard point guns in another, and then Reaper torpedoes in the first group. And I'm only going to worry about manually firing the Reapers, making sure they're on alternating so I can fire them one at a time. So, let's fly this thing. First, I'll show you how to just attack in general by deploying a Venture. Now, when going in against a ship that's not a frigate, and you're in a frigate, you generally want to have friends. So we're going to make sure we've deployed 2 allied ships to go in with us. 3-to-1 advantage on large ships is a good idea, especially in this case where between the Lasher we're piloting and our friendly Vanguard we're packing 5 Reapers, which is going to be enough raw spike damage that if they land we might just decimate our single target. So I like to wait until one of the allied frigates engages, and that right there, the Vanguard firing the Reaper, that counts as an engage. So we go in, making sure here to flank our target. So see, we're not too close to any of our ships, we've overlapped our firing angles. They've thrown their missiles, which is more than enough. So we're just going to hit ammo feeder, stay on target. And of course, we had a lot of missile firepower, and that was but a Venture. But that's kind of the idea. Look for ships that are tied up, fighting your other fleet members, and just kind of slip in and help. And turn on ammo feeder, and throw your Reapers, and hope for the best. But how does this look in a full kind of combat situation? Let's go ahead and set something up. We get 5 frigates, a capital ship, cruiser, a destroyer. Enemy gets a capital ship, cruiser, a destroyer, and 5, or we'll say 6 frigates of their own. So, we have enemy frigates. We don't want to try and duel them, although we could if they want to pressure. Like that guy, he got in too close. We'll just stay forward and threaten. So the Tempest did really good against that Lasher. Okay, Lasher is firing at the Centurion, so we're going to put up our shield, turn on ammo feeder, and point at the Centurion for a bit. I do hear our shots hitting armor, so that's success. When he backs off, we back off, because, yeah, that Enforcer has some very long-range guns. Our Onslaught is firing at their Onslaught. Let's watch. Ooh, an Enforcer going in with the burst there. So let's watch the Enforcer for a second. See how much we got? Half of his bar full of hard flux there, just because he didn't pay attention to us for a minute. Now we're at half flux, we back up. Active vent, good job Tempest. So because we helped flux out that Enforcer, we may be able to secure the kill. Go back in. One Reaper. Nice, got him. Swap targets to the Centurion. Focus on him. We definitely have the number advantage now. They lost a Wolf, they lost an Enforcer. So with them outnumbered, we just sneak around the field and play support. Onslaught's not having a good time, which means it's our time to shine. Reaper's out. Ammo feeder on, and stick to him. He's flamed out. He's having a bad time. Now there is something, what is shooting at me there? Part of playing a frigate is you have to be very aware of what is going on, like, outside of what's on screen. But that Onslaught's basically toast. We can safely just back up. Nice. Nice jackhammer wave. Okay. And that leaves us, what's on the field? An Eagle and a Lasher. So we're in the mop-up step now. And I've basically been, ouch, we're overloaded. So I've been trying to be cautious and not get my frigate killed. Just because it's going to be more fun piloting this thing if you live for the entire battle. We could build a safety overrides build, throw some hammers on it, and run in and do the one and done massive amount of damage. We'll actually get to that after we're done with this combat. With the Eagle, just like any other ship, we wait until he's focused on another ship, and then we look for our opportunity to go in, just like our other frigate friends are doing here. Following the Horde is not a bad idea. In fact, can we get all the way behind him? Oh, he dropped his shield. Reaper out. Nice. And stick to him. So that's Lasher. And I would say, if you're sitting down to try and play a frigate, remember that because of how frail they are one of the hardest things to get right. So I would recommend setting yourself up these kind of battles in the sim, fight some fair battles, fight some battles where you're outnumbered, and just get in raw time in the piloting chair, getting used to what the ship can do, what it can survive, and what it can't survive. And if you're struggling with survivability, you can always take the Extended Shields hull mod, or you could go the other route and you could shield shunt this and strap heavy armor to it. Try and get some sustainability, some durability that way. Yeah! Okay, enough messing around. Let's now discuss the safety overridden Lasher. So this is how I would normally play a Lasher. Our build is kind of similar to before. I've traded out Integrated Targeting Unit for Safety Overrides, which is going to restrict our weapon range anyway. We've dropped all the vents and replaced them with however many capacitors I could fit, because due to Safety Overrides and due to the weapons we're using, our flux dissipation to weapon flux is a bit more favorable. So, weapons. 2 light mortars for armor stripping in the hard points, so that they remain accurate. And then in all the turret slots, light dual machine guns, which are extremely good at doing shield pressure. That is why we're using them. And their range of 300 doesn't really matter because safety overrides is going to restrict our range to about 400 anyway. And then, of course, for missiles, I'm using Reapers again, and you don't have to. You could use hammers, you could use Atroposes, but I would recommend some kind of missile that's going to do a big chunk of burst damage, rather than something like a Swarmer or an Annihilator. Okay, so how does this fly in comparison? Once again, let's take down the training venture with some teammates and just kind of compare. So as you can see, drastically shorter range going on here. We're going to put the mortars on auto fire, and when I pilot any ship really, I normally only worry about manually firing the missiles. You can get more value by microing your guns more, but you can still be pretty successful, even like me just being on auto fire with all your guns. Okay. So just like before, we wait for one of our teammates to engage. Just like that. I want the NPCs to tank the first hit and draw the aggro. And we're just going to get in behind, get in real close. If he puts his shield up, the light machine guns will cause a ton of hard flux buildup. If he doesn't put his shield up to block me, he's going to be blocking it, one of my allies, in which case our light mortars will tickle him. He's a Venture, he's very durable. But what do we do against an extremely durable target? That's right, missiles. Just like so. Now, he blocked the first one, which overloaded him, but second one made it in. And now that we have that nice dark spot on his armor indicator there, we can just sit on the back of him and shoot until he's cracked. This time our allies didn't do as well with timing their missiles, so it took longer to take him down. But really, the strategy for taking down large ships is going to be generally the same no matter what frigate you're piloting. It's just encircle and swarm and make sure that you don't get popped by the larger ship's bigger guns. So how does this look when we fly it in a proper battle? Once again, I'm going to take capital, a cruiser, a destroyer, and some frigates. So deploy those for me and the enemy team. Let's swap over and do capital, cruiser, 2 destroyers, and a variety of frigates, just to make this a little more numerically in their favor. Although they have the numbers advantage, a lot of my ships have AI cores and other nonsense going on. But okay, and now, safety overridden Lasher, we look for a target. The main thing to be aware of playing safety overridden, we do only have 90 seconds of uptime. So whatever we do, we need to do it fast. Tempest has overloaded target. Go in, go in, go in. Turn on ammo feeder. Shoot him up. Perfect. Now he is also a safety overridden Lasher, which means we move at the same speed. He can't escape me. So we can just sit on him like this. Oh, look at his flux bar go up from the light machine guns. And you'll note, what I did there is, as my flux was about to fill, I just dropped my shield, stayed on him, and kept firing. That is my default behavior when I'm safety overridden and about to flux out, is just stick to the target. If piloting normally, I would probably try and back off. Okay, conveniently, onslaught facing the wrong way. Throw the Reapers. Landed one. Value. Okay. We're gonna go in. Reapers again. Good. So we've definitely done way more damage in terms of value per deployment point than this Lasher is worth. We've done half of an onslaught in damage and killed an enemy Lasher. But now we're out of Reapers, so it's just kind of activate ammo feeder, stick to the back of this guy, kind of watching that wolf, because he does have missiles and the ability to hurt me. Okay, we don't have any armor on the side anymore. Oh, Tempest for the save. Thank you, friend, for getting him. Okay, my mouse like went out of the window and got a little wiggy there, but Tempest saved us from the wolf. Allies killed the onslaught while I was fighting with my camera controls. Apologies for that. And what do they have left? Or was that it? Okay, they have that gremlin, which we don't care about. Let's go toward the enemy eagle. So now that we're out of peak performance time, this is our main weakness when safety overridden. We're now just losing combat readiness. As your combat readiness goes down, your ship's maneuverability, damage, weapon turn rate, all of those stats go down. Okay, we can't even see the eagle, and yet he can pressure us back. So we're just gonna stay at the edge of his range and wait for help. Yeah, like the glimmer and the onslaught coming in. Now we try and flank, or worse, he'll turn toward me. If I can just get behind him, we'll be able to do some decent damage. Okay, behind him, ammo feeder, stay on him. We have no missiles, but we can be dang annoying. There we go, get flamed out, and now the cavalry is here. Good job, Dominator. Alright, piece cracked. And that was their last ship. Okay, so that is the Lasher tutorial. Pretty sure I covered both builds. We've done sample combat, so that's really it. If you have any questions about more ships, or you want me to bring you more builds, more little mini guides like this, let me know. Feel free to suggest ships, vanilla or modded. And if you have any Lasher builds to share with everyone else, please leave them in the comments so that people coming in the future can have a wide variety of ideas to pick from and advice on how to Lasher. Because again, I am not really an expert in flying the Lasher. It's not something I do too often. But regardless, I hope that this has been helpful, and I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end.